Time now for the latest business and finance news with Delano de Souza. Good morning to you, Delano.
Morning, Tom.
And you're starting out with the labour code in France, which is set for a facelift.
That's right, Tom. The plan is part of the government's efforts to boost growth and get companies hiring again. The proposed reforms have not yet been made public, but they are already facing stiff opposition from socialist lawmakers and workers' unions. This as provisions to let go of staff could become simpler. Yuka Roy reports.
It's a kind of shock treatment that not even past governments in the right have dared to try. The proposed reform measures would be too bitter to swallow for French workers, but the Labour minister says they won't put employees at risk.
It doesn't mean workers' rights will be reduced. The aim here is to step up efforts to help businesses become more flexible.
Today, companies in France have to justify in court when they want to fire staff, and the conditions for redundancy are limited to cases like bankruptcy and restructuring. Under the proposed new labour laws, businesses would be allowed to lay off workers for simpler reasons, like a drop in sales or orders for several consecutive quarters.
If the going gets tough for the company, it would be easier to let 2 or 3 people go rather than put 40 families in a difficult situation.
It would make it easier to hire people if we can fire them in case of a downturn.
That's a chilling scenario for French workers who are used to a high degree of job protection.
Making it easier to fire will be a good thing for employers, but for staff it's pretty scary.
The far-reaching reform would also leave working hours, salaries and holidays open to negotiation. But opposition within the ruling socialist ranks, as well as from labour unions, means the plan could be watered down before it's put to the vote in Parliament.
And Delano, tell us about the markets this hour.
Well, it's a negative across the board here in Europe. The CAC 40 in Paris is flat at the open. Shares in luxury goods maker Kering, which owns Gucci, opened up with gains. This after the company posted a 16% rise in fourth quarter revenue. There you can see the Frankfurt DAX down nearly 0.5% at this hour. Over in Asia, it's red too across the board, with the exception of the Kospi over in Korea. The Shanghai Composite closed the week in negative territory. Meanwhile, the Nikkei in Japan ending the session down nearly 1.5% at the close. Let's take a look at some of the other stories we're tracking for you at this hour. And the penalties for German car maker Volkswagen could be set to rise. Internal memos and emails suggest the company's executives, including former CEO Martin Winterkorn, were made aware of the presence of defeat devices back in 2014. This information, according to a report in the country's Bild am Sonntag paper, which was reviewed by the New York Times. Now, it was not until September 2015 that the company publicly admitted it placed defeat devices in 11 million of its vehicles. The world's biggest retailer lost ground on Wall Street on Thursday, falling back 3% after it slashed its sales forecast. Retail giant Walmart says it expects sales during its current fiscal year to remain flat. The company is closing its stores as part of a strategic overhaul. A strong dollar is also weighing on its international operations. And fierce local competition in China is forcing Uber to shed over $1 billion a year in losses. According to Chief Executive Travis Kalanick, the company makes up the money by using profits from other countries. Uber plans on doubling the number of cities it operates in China to nearly 100 by the end of 2016. The company said its competitor Chinese taxi app Didi was unprofitable in every city it exists in, pushing Didi to hit back that Uber's comments were outright untrue.
And finally, Delano, you're ending with some auction news about a certain Mr. 007.
That's right, Tom. Props from the Bond film Spectre are under the hammer at Christie's. Profits from the auction will go to charities, including Doctors Without Borders. Online bids can be placed until next Tuesday. However, one item has already been sold, and that's Daniel Craig's Aston Martin, which you can see on your screens, which went for $3.5 million. Now, the new owner won't even be able to take the car for a spin since the model doesn't have the necessary road clearances, as it was created solely for the film. Those martini glasses look pretty good.
What would you buy, Delano, apart from the glasses?
The martini glasses? Well, I wouldn't have a car in Paris. I don't know. I have no idea. I really didn't think about it. I thought I looked at the most flashiest thing, which was the car. Okay, I don't have $3.5 million.
Neither do I. Thanks for that business update this morning.